and to ask you to then go to bed. And I expect that to happen forthwith. That includes the seniors. Busy day tomorrow for a lot of us. So I'm looking for that cooperation from everyone, and that gives them an extra hour, which I think is a wonderful way. I kid them about it, but I think this type of fellowship is wonderful, and it's a great way for us to end our time here in the park. Now, you fellas, we got beautiful weather, so you can decide to have an outdoor concert, an indoor concert. You decide how you want to lay it up.
Well, you built this nice amphitheater for us.
Well, there you go. There you go.
We're going to use that.
Works for me. Long and short of it, tomorrow morning, you'll be awoken at 0700. Before you eat, you will have packed up everything in your tent and put it in your luggage bag. It may not look like it did when you came here, but at least it'll be in the bag. You're going to be doing that in a careful way. You'll be rolling up the foamies in the way you received them. If there's those little black things or elastic band or whatever it is.
We have them.
We have them. Okay.
Just pull the foamies out. We'll do it.
Yeah.
And wherever Sean and/or his people designate, they'll tell you where they want the bags. No one has breakfast until your tent is empty. That's the way it is. Then you have your breakfast at 0900. You will head out in 4 vans. My van, we're not sure what number that is just yet, and Mr. Lang's van will remain. So the other 4 fits will go. We'll cram yourselves into the other van, so the smaller van will stay for sure, and so we'll have enough to get everybody. If we don't have quite enough seats, we'll figure something out, but that's the way it's going to go. So it'll be 4 bus drivers at least, and you're going to go over to the Big Pines Trail, which some of you have done, but most of you haven't. Mr. Chamberlain, which we'll meet in a few minutes, who you've already met on a number of occasions already, he's been an interpreter at conversation areas for many years, and he's going to give you a fine instruction. I always ask him not to eat the plants because you might eat the wrong plants, but so all I can say in advance is don't do what he does, okay? It's
if you eat the plants, you end up looking like this.
I rest my case. I rest my case. Now, okay. So I mentioned that. You're going to be back, quiet please, you'll be back here at 11:30. Hopefully by then, if things work out, all of this will be gone. And we'll be ready to head, you'll be back into the regular vans for your travel, and we'll head out to Huntsville and our pit stop there for those of you. Remember, if you did not pay in advance for Swiss Chalet, you're not permitted in the restaurant, and you're not to be ordering Swiss Chalet at Harvey's. Okay? If you're going to Harvey's, that's fine. Have a burger or whatever. Okay? If you're going to Timmy's, eat whatever they've got. But if you wanted chicken, that ship has sailed. Okay? Mention the music at 9 o'clock. I'm not going to announce it because unless the music hasn't started, I'll announce it. But if the music started, I won't break it up. I'm going to go down to the beach and give a 20-ish minute astronomy lesson for those of you who are interested in looking up. It's not perfectly clear, but we'll be able to see something, okay? So you can set your little watches, and if you want to see that, that's fine. I'll meet those of you interested down at the beach at that time. Okay, that's it for that. I'd like to recognize some people who have been very good to us and made this trip possible over the last while. I'd like to start. What's happened? Yeah, well, he'll have to wait a minute. So we operate pretty much on a volunteer basis, and I'd like to thank some people who have made an enormous contribution to this year's event. The 16th year we've done this, and when I first did it, we only went about 10K every day because kids couldn't do it, and over the years, and we were looking right now. I just wanted to introduce Mr. Clute, whom you met a few days ago. He's been kind enough to drop in tonight. Yeah. See what we do here. We're in a few minutes when we're done here, we're going to show him what's going on. So, but I just would like to thank him. It's an honor for me to have him come after a number of years of working with Mr. Clute, and we get a chance to see what we do. Anyhow, so we'll get along with this then. So I'm going to start with the teachers. And I want you to understand something, folks. Regardless of the efforts of myself and the seniors, this trip doesn't happen without these people. And they don't have to do this. They don't get paid anymore. They're leaving their families for 4 days. That isn't always pretty. Not every family thinks it's a great idea to come up here and roll around the mud for 4 days. They do it anyway because it's fun and they think it matters. They think that this changes you a little bit. And it is an honor for me to have one of my ideas that I put together to make this happen be embraced by such wonderful professionals as these folks and come with me every year, and in fact want to come, and a few of them have actually thanked me for setting this up because they enjoy this time so much. And that's not just because of what we do, but also how much fun it is to work with groups like this one every year. So I thank you for that, and I certainly thank them and collectively for that. So I'm going to start off with the old timer. This gentleman hired me 18 years ago.
What a mistake.
Yeah. And he's the only one, for various good reasons, who's been along with me for the entire 16 years. And you do the talk at the Big Pines, so I thought you should have a little memorial of where you do your talk there, okay? So you won't get lost. Okay? Thank you very much, Mr. Chancellor. So, as things go forward and all the rest of it in our school, we get some wonderful people come in, and unfortunately on occasion we lose some great people. But this gentleman showed up a little while ago, and normally physicists and philosophers are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. But I have a great respect for the intellectualism that this kind and decent man sets up and how he puts together all of this, and the fact that he's a terrific hiker. And when it's raining, he just reminds me of his roots in Vancouver and British Columbia, where that's what they do every day anyway. And I just really love working with Mr. Pierce. Even when he's already worried about me. So, as I said before, a few years ago, we had another force enter the building. I got to know him first through ball hockey refereeing and so forth, and the kid took a serious interest in this, and it was great to have someone work with me, and he's just the top guy from one end to the other. I love to tease him on occasion. We've done geography trips together and all the rest of it, and I just, again, really enjoy having along Mr. Graham, everyone. When Mr. Chamberlain retired after 37 years at the helm in our, or at least certainly in teaching chemistry at our school, those were big shoes to fill. And we were incredibly fortunate to have a wonderful person show up at our school because they were smart enough to close her previous school so she could come to us. And so she took the mantle of running our science department. Has been an incredible asset to the program, and it's just an absolute pleasure to work with Miss Woods, everyone. So, a long time ago, ran into this fellow I knew from the beginning, and was one of the most organized teachers that I have seen, and I think if a teacher was coming into the profession, this is the kind of person they should work with, because everything's just set down and you know what to do tomorrow. Then he spent a whole bunch of time in special education and doing a great job there. And then he finally retired. He's been scouting for over 30 years. And so I asked him to join our trip, and he was thrilled to be part of it, which was really cool. And we had a spot for him, driving this big truck. And the teachers have a spot for him because he cooks this man here. So right away, okay. Now, when I started doing this back in 2000, we were just getting to know each other. And Mr. Lang has a joy of the wilderness. So we actually did some trips together, and there's nobody I know that I've traveled with, maybe I haven't traveled with enough people, but who's a more agreeable and friendly travel companion. So we built a friendship, and we both enjoy astronomy and space science, and so it's really grown over the years. And he took a cotton to this adventure right from the beginning. And so he's sort of been an aid to me, a voice of reason when I'm unreasonable, and all those other things, and a buffer. And that's a pretty tricky little business. And he's really taken some load off of the organizational aspects that I have done, at the same time being a real man of good sorts. And so I really want to appreciate all the work that has been done by Mr. Lang, not just this year, but for so many years. Mr. Lang. Mr. Lang.
It's on the schedule for.
Yeah, I got
We also need to make sure that we realize this wouldn't even be a thought if it wasn't for all the work that Mr. Van Bemmel does. He spends countless hours, even during his summer, making sure that everything's prepared. So he deserves the biggest round.
So I've got a motley crew here we need to mention briefly, and then I can give Mr. Clute my attention here. So the seniors, the teachers live pretty good, to be honest with you, courtesy of Mr. Dowding and others. The real work here, in many ways, is done by the seniors. And that gives them some, I mean, it's convenient for me, but it's also a leadership opportunity for them. And we get dozens of applications every year for quite a few spots. So it's a deep thing, and it's quite an honor, I think, to be selected. And I've almost never been disappointed. Almost never. Well, you got to keep them feeling a little unsure, you see. You don't want them to get... And over the years, different groups have done a wonderful job. And that's also been a joy with the programs. We have been able to do the primary science objective with the 10s, but also seniors give them a chance to do some leadership work. And the teachers appreciate that work just as much as I and Mr. Lang do. So we'd like to recognize those people tonight. Now, I'll screw up the jobs because I forget what I hired people for. But I want to recognize one person first, okay? Because I forgot her last year, and I forgot her name. And I now, after teaching her 3 times and going to Algonquin twice, I know the name Susie Leo. Susie always looks so worried every time I do stuff, and she keeps coming back for more. She takes AP Physics. She goes to Algonquin twice. Like, I can't get rid of her. And she's always, it's amazing. Okay, let's see now. We also have some folks, let me think about who I'm going to... Okay, well, the documentation, taking the pictures and the video and so on, we structure that so it actually gets done. And so we had, she was the lead this year, and in grade 11 we have a young man who always has a camera around his neck, who's been quite keen to do this, and he's sitting beside a camera yet again. Everyone, Valiant Chan. Okay, and then we have some other jobs. We'll get this one over quickly. So a lot of times if it's a busy trip, when it's raining and so forth, the seniors are really busy. So we set up someone who would coordinate the food preparation activities, and it takes a special personality, and this year, boy, I tell you, we've got one of those. Those try, everybody. Thank you. There you go, Sid. Woo! Thank you. As I said, a unique personality. Okay. And we also have people who mark papers. So your subjective stuff, your drawings and so forth. So there's a young lady who not only has been marking papers, but has really turned into a real worker of the physical plant and all running around doing all kinds of stuff, lots of energy. And so that looks real good for next year. Bianca Asanyo, everybody. Who's the lead report marker? I forget who I hired for that. Oh yeah, okay. No, that's actually not, I'm not embarrassing. This young lady is one of the most interesting people I've worked with this year in grade 12. She's interested in everything. She's fascinating. And she works really hard at this trip. And even though she's the lead report marker, she's doing so many other things at the same time, it's hard to find it. I think that's quite remarkable, and I wish Joyce Cheng all the best. All right, and now we have something that was invented about 4 or 5 years ago, or what we call universal helping persons, to take off on that tool we have. And this was invented by Ivan. And so we've grown on that to about 3 of them. And so we have a captain, and then we have 2 helpers that go with that. And so that's turned out really well for us, as there's kind of, you do whatever job needs to get done. So this year, the captain of that group was Ella Plant, everyone. was the captain of our hockey team, but we didn't win. It happens. This is the way it goes, you know. And then, so one of our UHPs is a grade 11 fella who's showing a lot of promise. He's enjoying the physics course. Another good thing. Iggy Burkage, everyone. And I met this fella in grade 11, and I saw him in AP Physics, and I thought he's a fine personality. Doesn't talk excessively, at least in my presence, which means he's probably working hard. So I thought, you know, there's someone I want along on this trip and to help out with the jobs. And he's done a great job. Thomas Mercier, everybody. Okay, great. Nicely. All right. So if I haven't screwed it up, that leaves us with 8 to go. And these are our managers and the apprentice managers. So I'm going to do them in the pairs together. We had a job that's now being done in here. Now, it took a lot longer until I wrote a terrific piece of software, which my students like to pick on. But this job turned into a pretty responsible position. There's a lot to do to process all those sheets so that on Monday, we can dump all the data from APA onward onto your sticks, and you can take it home, install the software, and download whatever source data night and day. And so we have this year, the lead on that was Vanessa Dew, everyone. Oh my gosh, she's strong. And her apprentice, who's worked probably just as hard, but she's quiet, which means, again, they do lots of hard work. And that, of course, is Sheila Chu, right here. Okay. Moving to the scientific equipment situation, which one time was a really big job because we had lots of probes, which didn't work. And so it's become a little different, but there's still lots of toys in that tent, as you all know. And this young lady has really taken it to task last year and this year to get it right, to try her best to keep everything going, to help with the training. And I think she's done a fantastic job. Andrea Obistarescu, everyone. Well done. It worked, of course it worked. Hard work always does that. Her apprentice this year is Gordon Winch, who's not only been great with this job, but he's busy running around helping with everything else as well. Gordon Winch looks like a real winner for next year. Gordon, come on up here. Oh my. Okay. Now we're down to the last group. The whole campsite here is the responsibility of one individual. So water, at least helping with it, getting it all going, building the LS, building the tents, building the stuff LS, the whole thing, whatever, boils down to one person. Mr. Lang is the staff coordinator of that, but the real work's done here, and I think it's been really well done this year. Sean Purcell, everybody. And his apprentice for next year, and you know next year is going to be a quiet trip because we've got Sheila, okay, and Dylan, we were just about to talk about, and Iggy, okay. So it'll work out really well because we're going to get a lot of work done because there'll be no time for talking. So, but anyhow, so last year we noticed a young lady was really, everybody spoke well of. And so when we didn't have enough seats in the vans to go over to the hike on Sunday, or the next day, we asked her to stay behind and help out. And this is Dylan Magner, everyone, and so we wanted her on the trip for that reason. Thank you very much, Dylan. They're all doing this because they know they're getting their physics test back in the next week or so. So we'll see how this goes. And finally, we get to the last two. The lead senior position. And this is quite a serious business because there's a lot of coordination, and use of power at this age is kind of tricky at times. You've got kind of friends and you just got to say no sometimes. They got to keep me on schedule, remind me of stuff. I have to remind them of stuff and make it all work. And there's a lot to it. And every person from the years down right back to AP3 when Aaron Hunking took over on this position, they've bled this thing. And they put hundreds of hours into this. And they're special people because not only are they really capable technically, they're also fun people to work with, and they really create a thing. And most importantly, they're responsible for the weather. And nobody in the history of this trip has ever produced weather like this with no bugs. Emily Ford, everybody. So, it is abundantly clear. Now, this young lady certainly has a personality, so it'll be a lot of fun to work for her next year. I can be sure of that. But she's got big shoes to fill because it's been a hell of a trip. And but we're going to really look forward next year to working with Rishi Alangamarian, everyone. No, it just slid a bit. Yeah. Now, so that's our little session. I just wanted to remind everyone, once again, we're done at 11, and it's a quiet camp until 07. I just really respect that you put your face forward and work. Life's like that. It adds challenges. You can run from them, or you can embrace them by taking appropriate preparation, listen to people, guides who want to take you somewhere and show you something new. You may go a different direction in your life. That's okay. But it's a great way to begin. Some of you, perhaps, this has turned out a bit differently, perhaps, than you expected. So I salute you. But before we break up, I want to recognize one other person. There's a lady, of course, who's part of the administration of our school. And the administration of our school, I always dreamed over the time I do this trip that maybe once I would get someone from the administration to come up. But 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was now, not only did we have administration personnel, the principal came up and spent an evening and a full day with us doing the whitefish provoking, the trip I did today with Group 3 in heat. Wearing black, of course. And she did it. So she did a great job. And ever since, and then last year, and again this year, Miss Leapster has volunteered to come up for a day and just see what we're up to. So I really, they have a lot on their plate, folks. Our school is a busy place. And for them to give up a day and come up here whenever it fits in is an honor for me. And I'd like to thank Miss Leapster very much for coming today.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to hug Mr. Van Bemmel.
No. That's okay, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. On that note, like I said,
we did try and get for the 12s who were up Miss Massafero to come up, but we couldn't get the hiking treads on her high heels.
Yeah, we worked on it. So once again, 11 o'clock tonight, astronomy. For those who are interested, at 9 o'clock, just down by the beach there. Other than that, you must remain in the perimeter of the campground here so that we know where you are. Mr. Lang?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, so the campground perimeter, so the site's here, and not down by the garbage. You can go to the beach until it gets dark, and then you've got to come up. Okay, there'll be some lights and lanterns on wherever we can put them on for safety purposes. The concert will be right here, I guess? Yeah. Okay. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for working with me. It's been a pleasure. I look very much forward to your papers and your presentations in a few weeks.